if I were to fall sick and even hospitalized, how do I get covered to this specific event?
Well, when we are talking about fall sick or hospitalized, yeah. So when this kind of situation happen, just imagine when we are, sent to the hospital. Usually, what the hospital will ask us or ask our family members is, do you have a medical card? Yeah. So if we do not have, then they will ask whether you have a credit card. Otherwise, then it will be treated as cash term already. Yeah? So in this situation, say if we have a medical card, all we need to do is to show the card to the hospital, and the bill incurred will then be covered as per the policy reading. Yeah. So things such as room charges, medication, surgery fee, and so on. So with that, right, this medical plan will then help us a lot, because when we are hospitalized, what we want is to focus on recovery, not to worry about whether or not we can afford the medical bill. Yeah? And whereas, like what you have mentioned just now, when it comes to general insurance, probably we are referring to a personal accident plan. So let's say if we are hospitalized due to accidental injury, maybe road accident, maybe we fell down due to a certain accidental situation, then the PA plan will help us to cover. Yeah, it's just that we need to probably pay first the medical bill and reimburse from the insurance company. So the difference between a personal accident plan versus a medical card plan is that personal accident plan covers injury or hospitalization only relevant to accident, whereas a medical card will actually cover all sorts of medical conditions when we are at the hospital, provided all the situations is as per the policy. That's why it's really important for us to understand what we have bought, read through the policy, even though sometimes the terms in it we might not understand, but at least we will be able to know what is covered and what is not. And very importantly is how much is the limit as well.
Because it's correct actually. Medical card and also this personal accident is usually some people think that it's the same thing when it's actually different. It's completely different thing, and also the limit on how much you can actually apply is also different. So back to the Mr. Heat, actually. The COVID-19 pandemic has really taken toll of us. In fact, yesterday itself, the case has been one of the highest actually. So most of us has lost jobs, sources of income, and the list and goes on and on. I think you have already seen through a lot of this. So on that note, how can insurance actually help us post-pandemic? Because I believe whenever during this pandemic, people don't really want to spend a lot of money. They rather to keep it for the future purposes. So how can insurance actually help us post-pandemic?
I'm not sure whether maybe Mr. can give some enlightenment on whether there is any insurance product that can cover loss of jobs. Because if you're talking about COVID-19 pandemic, most obvious impact, if we're looking into unemployment rate, is skyrocketing. A lot of people have lost jobs, source of incomes being compromised, and but when I want to relate COVID-19 with the insurance, what I can emphasize from the financial advisory perspective, because AKTK is not it's not an entity who want to touch specifically on the product of insurance. I think Mr. is actually the best person to talk about the product of insurance, where is there any insurance that can cover if you have lost job, if you have been retrenched and whatnot. So I think Mr. is the best person to tell about it. But to answer your questions on how I can relate to financial management, I go back to the earlier points that I shared just now. When you commit to insurance payment, the premium payment, you have to make sure that you have the ability to commit and pay, contribute to the insurance premium that you have committed. So meaning you have to have some liquid assets for you in order to commit. For example, we always say that you have to have a 3 to 6 month salary savings in order for you to be a survivor if you will be retrenched, right? So with this 3 to 6 month salary, you will be able to commit and continue the insurance premium so that your policy can be enforced. Because like I said, it will be a waste when you stop pay your premium and your policy is no longer enforced. So, you know, you have a lot of money wasted just like that. So yeah, to answer your questions, post-pandemic, the lesson learned from this, actually you have to make sure your sustainability to enforce your premium contribution, and definitely you have to have insure yourself, meaning you have to have a savings that can cover your commitment at least for the 3 to 6 months if you will be to be retrenched.
Okay, thank you, Mr. In. So back to Miss Tay actually. So let's say if I got into accident on my way to work. So just now we were talking about hospitalized and surgery. So now if we're going to the work and we got actually into an accident, how do I ensure that I am well covered should unfortunate accident like this happen to me? So because I'm pretty sure whenever you get into accident, you are into a panic mode. You do not know what to do. You're calling your parents or you're calling your friends or family to help you. So what can they do? What are the steps that they can do in order to make sure everything goes smoothly? If there are any insurance that they have taken that actually can cover during this accident?
Well, when it comes to accidents, of course, as we mentioned just now, if we have any medical plan, we own a medical card, and when we are being sent to the hospital, of course, remember to make use of the medical card, to show the hospital that, please check my medical plan, what kind of a room am I eligible, what kind of limits do I have. And we believe that all the hospitals that we have in Malaysia, they are very experienced in handling case like this. Well, alternatively, like what we have mentioned just now, so if what we have is actually a personal accident plan, so that is different from a medical card. Yeah. So let's say if what we have is a personal accident plan. Yeah. So there's no medical card for us to show, but we can reimburse the accidental injury medical expenses with the insurance company. It means that if we notice that what we have is a PA plan, when we are hospitalized, or when we are being treated, due to accidental injury at the hospital, we pay our own bill first. Remember to keep the receipt. And after that, we can always reimburse the medical expenses from the insurance company. Adding on to that, I think many of the PA plan nowadays also have this benefit of paying us the daily cash allowance if we are unable to go to work due to this particular accident. So again, read through what is the benefit tables that we have for each of the policy that we buy. May it be a medical plan, may it be a PA plan, because many benefits as listed in the plan, it's not the usual one that we thought we are covered with. So another point I would also like to mention is that when we talk about PA plan, right, it does not only cover road accidents. So it covers actually many other accidents as well, such as snatch theft, such as, let's say, we have got ourselves into some accidental fire burn, even kidnapping, and even ambulance fee is also covered under certain PA plans. So when we are faced with situation like this, even though we are panicked, but rest assured that if we are covered, meaning to say one way or another, we will be able to actually get the reimbursement back for our medical expenses.
I think PA plan nowadays are becoming much more comprehensive. They cover a lot actually.
Yes.
That's why the reason why people actually confuse it to medical plan. When people say that, why do I should take a medical plan when PA itself can cover a lot on its own. and it's sometimes much cheaper than actually for medical card. Okay, so thank you, Mr. So back to Mr. In. So how do you plan to accommodate insurance into financial plan? I think the youth nowadays, whenever they do a financial plan, insurance sometimes is the last one they put. So whatever leftover of the money, they will put that as a insurance. But I think that insurance should be the priority because these are the uncertainty. And other than that, for example, like house loan, all that you have to pay. But the uncertainty is the one we should prioritize. So how do you think should the youth accommodate this insurance into financial plan?
Well, yes, it's indeed it's very important for youth to consider a protection plan in their financial planning management. Because being youth, being youngsters, sometimes they are actually more prone to buy something that like a smartphone, gadget, and that's why you were saying that insurance will be the last item that they want to consider. But as a financial advisor, myself, I would say to youngsters that you have to look into this insurance protection during your young days, because we have to leverage on the cost of money that we put in. Like for example, the medical insurance. When you are young, the premium is cheaper, so you will bring your premium along the way as you grow. As compared if you already 30 or 40, the premium you might not enjoy the premium that you enjoy during your youngsters. And how to accommodate insurance into the financial plan. Even though financial plan is very important, you have to look at your needs, your condition, your financial positions. But I think you have to put some thought and put some percentage how much you need to put aside to look at your insurance or protection planning. If you just can afford about maybe 100, so you just go to look at into what are the insurance policies or products that can accept 100 premium in a month. So don't wait until you think that I can have a 250 or 300 or 500 insurance premium that only you want to buy. By then you should think about other things to buy, right? So the most important thing is how much can you comfortably afford. Try to commit so that you are not really trapped on that particular amount if anything happens to you. So what kind of coverage do you need? So you have to look at what coverage do you need, whether you want to go life, medical, or whatever. You were saying just now is very good to compare PA and life insurance, right? So what is the best? So that is actually a good indicator for you to get a good decision, an informed decision for yourself. Yeah.
And also, I think in terms of this, obviously, when you get your first salary, you are excited. This is your money. This is what I earn. So obviously, usually insurance is like, they know insurance is a necessity, but they usually just put at the back of their mind. They focus on what they want after, working so hard. After a few months of working hard, they want what they have to, for example, iPhone and all. So, to the next question, to Misty actually. So this is one of the most asked question. So some of the big company, they already have their own coverage, whenever they're working, so they have their MCs and all. So if I'm being covered, so they ask, if I'm being covered by my employer, why do I need my own? I think this is a very good question. So a lot of people actually ask, whenever we talk about insurance, they say, my company has already covered me. What's the point of me having to pay my own money to actually have my own insurance?
Well, I think nowadays is really a wonderful thing that majority of us, we are actually covered by our employers. Yeah. So meanwhile, I think it is also very important for us to find out how much we are actually covered and what kind of coverage that do our employers actually provide to us. Is it, are we covered only on PA? Are we accidental? Are we covered only when we visit the clinics? Yeah, or are we covered if we are diagnosed with, let's say, serious illnesses? And how much is the limit? Yeah, how much is the coverage? And very importantly is whether or not it is enough to cater for our individual medical needs. Yeah? So a point to note is that for all the youngsters out there, I'm pretty sure that there will be times when we want to change jobs. Right, so we hoping between jobs, for better career advancement. So a question to ponder is that what happens if accident or medical situation happens in the middle of us changing job? Yeah, so usually after we leave our previous job and before we start a new job, we tend to go for a short holiday. And very commonly, we balik kampung, visit our parents before we start our new job. Yeah. So during this period of time, we will then not be covered by any employers. Yeah, because the new one have not even started. The old one we have already tendered our resignation. Yeah, so no more coverage during that period of time. So even though it is nice to have company coverage, but it's really advisable for us to get our own plan, especially to get it when we are still young and healthy. So as we age, our health might change. And say if we want to, after certain years of employment, we want to come out and do our own business. So if that is the time only when we want to buy our own insurance, right, we might need to pay a lot more. Yeah. And the worst that can happen is because the health situation has changed, we might not even able to buy any more insurance. Yeah. If we are talking about investment linked plan, whereas we have some saving elements in it, so slowly as we pay every month or every year, right, the account value will actually accumulate. So it is also another form of savings for us. Yeah. So you'll be surprised that even though every month we are only paying, say, a couple of hundreds, into the plan, but as days goes by, the account value can actually accumulate to a significant amount. Say if we want to start our business, we want to get our house, we want to do renovation, that is also another source of savings that we can actually go for. So it's important for us to find out how much coverage our employer is providing. It is also important for us to know that whether or not is enough to cater for all the needs that we have, as our responsibility actually goes up on year basis.
Yeah, I think correct. When you talk about switching jobs, those are one of the uncertainties, and usually bad things come during the uncertainties when you are least expected, actually. So this question is for both Mr. In and also Ms. Tay, actually. The cost of living for the youth is very high nowadays, especially if you live in KL, Selangor. You have to pay the rent if you're renting, and most of them have very low income. To kata they have thick lifestyle. Nowadays youth, they want to do a lot of things, but they do not have that kind of income to actually manage their lifestyle. With that being said, because of that, they said that insurance is actually a luxury. What are your thoughts on this kind of quote? I think we can start with Mr. first.
Well, I used to think that too when I was much younger, yeah. But the longer I am in the industry, in the insurance industry, we have actually witnessed many real life cases when people come forward to make their claims, yeah, or their family members actually come forward and say whether or not my husband, my son, they have an insurance with you because he has something bad has happened, yeah. And because of that, now I would really want to say that guys, insurance is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Yeah? Talking about affordability, you will be surprised actually how affordable insurance is nowadays. Yeah? So when we talk about high cost of living, we got to understand that it's because of the high cost of living, we cannot afford to lose our ability to work. Right? So insurance will help if one day we really cannot go to work anymore due to accident or illnesses. So, when we are already earning an income and yet we say that it's not enough. So what happens when we can't even have that kind of income anymore? Yeah? Another thing is when we talk about high cost of living, medical fee is also part of it. Yeah, so not only us, I think you will agree with me that many high income earners, it's not that we cannot afford an insurance plan, we cannot afford to pay the medical bill when it comes to major surgery or some serious illnesses. Yeah, so we have also seen people, they have to sell their house, they withdraw all their savings, they even ask for donation when they need to perform a very expensive surgery. Yeah, so a question to ponder is that especially for the youngsters out there, right? If we can afford a cup of coffee at high-end cafe a day, why can't we afford an insurance plan that is cheaper than your coffee and yet can save your life when you need it? So ask ourselves again, is insurance a luxury or actually it is a necessity?
I believe that question about the whether high-end coffee and it's a general question that we always ask them, and they always answer, yeah, insurance is better. But then in real life, in the decision itself, that's the problem. Again, Mr. In, I think you also have countered a lot of this kind of thing where they think, not that they think, it's just that once they realize it's already too late. At first they thought it's just a luxury, but now when actually it happened to them or maybe to the closest member, then they realize, now I but then at that time, probably their financial management is already too tight to actually do. That's why Mr. already said that they have to sell a lot of things to actually to get back to what they used to have before. So how about you, Mr. In? How about what your thoughts about this luxury insurance actually? Insurance is a luxury.
Okay, thank you, Amir, and thank you, Mr. Actually, I echo with Mr.'s opinion. And when Mr. said that when you used to be a youngster, but you still look young, Mr. Alright, so yeah, we are young, right? Looking into this, whether insurance is really a luxury thing, it goes to the financial behavior of individuals. Right? We did a research on financial behavior and we link back to the financial well-being. Actually, there is no relationship whether you have a high income, then only you can enjoy your financial well-being. No. If you have a good financial behavior, then only you can enjoy your financial well-being. Meaning to say that if you have low income, but you have a good financial behavior, meaning you have a very good and disciplined financial management, you plan your finance, you budget and you follow your budget, and you think that insurance is necessity, then you fork out some money and put some budget on insurance, and after that, you will definitely, at the end of the day, you will enjoy the good financial well-being. So what kind of advice or wisdom that I can share to youngsters out there, to those actually watching this webinar? I want to bring your attention to this some words of wisdom. Doing a small good thing consistently is a system to success, but doing a small mistake consistently is a system to failure. So I refer back to what Mr. said just now. If you can, it's affordable insurance premium, you can put aside, and to be consistently contribute the premium, you will enjoy one day when you got the coverage. Because the coverage you wouldn't know when you will have that, rainy days, you're not able to work and whatnot. So at that time, you will say that, okay, this is the success when you do a small thing consistently. But when you're doing some small mistakes consistently, it's a system to failure. It means I refer to, I mean, saying just now, you know, the luxury cafe, luxury coffee, even though you take that coffee, I just take this coffee once in a week. So if you times maybe 15 ringgit times 4 is already 60 ringgit, and you just top up about a few 40 ringgit, and just you can pay insurance premium of 100 ringgit, then maybe you can cover about, I don't know, maybe 150,000 of life insurance coverage. I don't know, maybe that's kind of range that you can enjoy. So meaning, to answer your question whether this is luxury or not, it's definitely is not luxury. Okay, the point that you want to convey for those who watching this webinar, for youngsters, insurance, protection, especially accessibility, necessity for you. I mean,
And also to add, actually, it's about luxury. It's not, again, it's not, they say, not to say that it is a luxury. It's actually more towards like also the fact that they are youth, they are young, you know, they feel like, nah, I don't think so, I will contract heart disease or anything. So they feel like they will take it at the older age. When you are at older age, the commitment become higher actually. Once you are married, once you have kids, actually the commitment have become higher. So thus, when you take it late, actually, it actually will disrupt your financial planning. So if you take it late, actually. So for the last question, actually, for Mr. In your opinion, how much is the amount of salary? Just now you have said that put in consistently, take out consistently for the insurance, right? So how much of salary that you need to put aside for insurance in terms of percentage, maybe for like 10% or 15%, how much you think actually it is necessary for the insurance from their salary to take out?
all right. For the financial planning perspective, we're looking into a recommended percentage that you need to look into and consider for your financial planning. Like, for example, if you want to have loans, so you might need to look into debt to income ratio. I think the previous session in the morning, the speakers already talking about, you know, how to calculate the debt to income ratio. So you have to be very mindful about your debt to income ratio, not more than 40%. Then you have another 60% to survive. And if you can be smarter, maybe you're not using a full 40% of your debt to income ratio. Maybe you want to put aside about 5% of your salary for the premium insurance. You know, I think because to be very practical, I think to survive in the big city, you know, when you are working, to survive, I think more or less you need about 50% of your salary to you know, to eat, to go to work, to survive every month. And maybe another 50% you want to maneuver between your debts and also your insurance premium. So yeah, I mean, if you can resist your temptation to take a new loan, which is, if unnecessary, if you have loans that are productive, that will be fine. It's okay. We cannot say that you cannot take loan. You can take loan, but the purpose of the loan is actually for the productive purposes. And you have to mindful that you are not over 40% of your debt to income ratio. So to answer your question, maybe you want to consider about 5% to 10% of your salary to consider about the insurance premium. And yeah, back again, but then you have to look at your affordability. Maybe the 5% or 10% is too high for you. Maybe you cannot afford 10%. So at least you look at maybe 5% of your salary to go into, you know, consider the protection planning.
And also, they have to understand what kind of product they want. Some will love to have investment links. Some will love to have critical illness. It's a various thing that they have to think about a long time actually, because this is a commitment as well. Not just house, not just that. This is a commitment for your own future and also for the rest of your family. So thank you very much for Mr. and also Mafruhim for addressing this interesting topic. That marks the end of our session today. So before we go, let's end this session with the bank. So previously I've mentioned that we are giving away free car dash cam and also 1 year's worth of PA insurance to one lucky participant. So how do you win these prizes? Okay, let's turn the tables, all right? You will be the one to ask Miss Tay or Miss In the question relating to insurance. So type down your question in the Q&A chat box here in Zoom. Remember, please do not select answer anonymously because if not, we cannot give you the prizes. So let's get to first. The only commenters, the question will walk away with the prizes. So I will count to 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll see what the question that we can get from the audience itself. So hopefully the question is more on the insurance. Maybe they want to know about the MRTA or anything because insurance is looks simple, but actually is very deep. You know, you have to know a lot of things about insurance. So while we wait for the question, just type the question there, and we'll pick the first one. The first question asker. Hope it should be related to insurance, yeah. Okay, now we got the question. So a question first from, can we know from? Okay, we got our winner, the only winner from Wei Hong. So the question is, this is open for both Miss Tay and Miss In. Will you suggest students to buy insurance when they do not have any income? So maybe we can start with Miss Tay first.
Well, when we do not have any income, a question for us is where do we find money to fund for the premium? Yeah. So I think it's also a very good start for students to actually come across this thought that I would like to actually get myself an insurance, but I do not have income. How should I actually pay the premium? So if that is the situation, probably the things that we need to ask ourselves is everybody can get ourselves an insurance plan as long as you can afford to pay the premium. Yeah, so we can always start small. Yeah, get ourselves a minimum coverage of our life, or you can actually opt for a personal accident plan if you think that we are actually prompt to accidents day in, day out, because the premium is relatively a lot more cheaper. And again, we have been emphasizing this a lot. Yeah, it is not a one-time off kind of thing. Yeah, so once we have decided we want to get into it, we need to have the discipline to actually serve the premium to ensure that we are well covered. Yeah, so students can still buy an insurance plan as long as we figure out how we're going to fund the premium.
And also just to add, nowadays, I mean, with the power of social media and online buying, I think a lot of students now are no longer I just come to class to study. Some of them even do a part-time, do the drop ship, online shopping. So I believe those kind of people actually really better if they take insurance at the early years actually. When, for example, some of them probably do a delivery, they have car, they do a delivery, and taking PA is just beneficial for them actually. So thank you to our participant Wei Hong. Later, our team will contact you shortly to get your details. So it was wonderful and informative session. Just to recap, insurance is an investment. It's not a luxury. It's not something that maybe you can take it later. It's actually important that you have to take throughout your lifetime. It's essential that you know that each type of insurance, just to understand what the insurance actually covers and what can they do So just to make the best decision on what to buy, do not base on decision on what is the cheapest. Usually when people take just the cheapest, they do not actually read in between the lines what are they cover actually at the end. So